Gen Z is the influencer generation, and I don't really know how to feel because you see, I'm Gen Z as well, but I don't understand why every Gen Z, Gen Alpha, like every person under the age of 30 wants to be, an influencer, and even people over the age of 30. Some millennials want to do this whole influencer stuff, and I blame Vine. And all these other social media antics, and the fact that, everybody wants to chase that influencer dream, and they think that, I'd rather just wake up, turn on a mic, and make six figures right off the bat, right? And I can't blame that because obviously I'm sitting here doing the same thing. But at the same time, I think a lot of people put too much pressure onto their podcast, onto their YouTube channel, their TikToks, their this, right? You even have young women going and doing OnlyFans, right? Because they just think that it's a lot easier to wake up, snap a naked picture of themselves, and then, go ahead and make millions of dollars. But at the end of the day, like, you have to understand too that that's not the easiest job ever. Like, I mean, think about it, right? Like, even if you wake up and you go work at McDonald's, you're still that's still a job that you can, like, it's still a job is my point, You don't have to worry about where your money's going to come from. As long as you wake up, go to your job, let's say go and flip burgers or take orders or make milkshakes or whatever the hell you do at McDonald's, you know that you're still going to get a paycheck on every week or every 2 weeks whenever they pay if it's biweekly, Even if you work a traditional 9-to-5 job, like as a graphic designer or a doctor, a lawyer, astronaut, whatever, engineer, right? Stuff that is actually useful to society. Not that working at McDonald's isn't, but I mean, hey, at least you're still part of the top 1% of the population making all that money. But nobody has those dreams anymore. Some people do, but most of the time people still would rather be like, I want to sit here and do a podcast, especially men, right? Obviously for men to wake up and, like, I think every group of guys that has ever had a good idea, had a good conversation has thought, we should make this into a podcast, like, sure. But the problem with podcasting that people have to want to listen to your stuff. And it doesn't mean that you can't keep going and going and going and going. What causes a lot of these people to not want to do podcasts or give up on their podcasts is the fact that they just don't want to keep going with the podcast, right? They do, let's say, 42 episodes and they're like, oh man, after 42 episodes, nobody's watching my podcast, man. Screw it. I'm not going to do this no more, and that's what causes a lot of people to not want to do the podcast, or they give up on that influencer dream. But do they ever really give up on the influencer dream? No, because at the end of the day, like, I know plenty of people, including myself, who will say, I'm going to go the normal job route, and then they end up going down that normal job route. They work for like 6 months and they're like, I'm going to go back into just the influencer stuff because I can't deal with this, right? And a lot of the times is that people can't deal with authority. They can't deal with that corporate structure. Like for myself, I can't deal with corporate structure. Like I wouldn't mind if it was like a freelance type gig where it's like, hey, I provide you with a service and then you pay me money and that's it. And I'm my boss. So technically, yes, the person paying me the money is the boss. But at the same time, once I get your business and I get you to go ahead and recommend to me, if I didn't like the way that you spoke to me, I don't like the way that you handled the situation, I can just go ahead and say, okay, I'm not going to work with you no more because I already got your business. You already recommended me to someone else. So yeah, I'm not going to be rude to your face. But again, I still make that decision. It's not like, you got to go work at this place. And if you don't like the way that this place does it, well, you have to go apply for another job. And in this economy, you can't really find another job. That's why I don't blame these Gen Z, Gen Alpha people for deciding that they want to go and do an influencer job. Like, I'll go make TikToks and do this. And some people might get away with it, right? Not to be controversial, but at the same time, it's kind of what this stuff is about. So it's like, I mean, yeah, if you're a cute girl or a gorgeous young lady, you might have a better chance of becoming TikTok famous by doing these little dances than you would for someone like me who isn't a cute girl or isn't really, like the traditional trad, Chad looking dude, you know what I mean? So like, you're right. I might have better success working at a regular job because I don't fit that society's, I guess, idea of beauty. Although I don't know, with the stuff that's going on today with the whole, non-body shaming or body acceptance, fat acceptance movement, you know what I mean? But I don't really see a lot of people advocating for fat men, right? You know what I mean? And not to be bad, but I'm just saying, like, see a lot of people advocating for fat women, saying it's okay for women to be fat, but yet, have you ever seen a man walk in there? I mean, let's be honest. When's the last time you saw a man get accepted for being fat, right? In these movements. But that's besides the point, right? The point is that even, and this isn't trying to turn into a man versus woman thing, but it really just is the truth, right? A lot of people think that doing this is a lot easier than working a 9-to-5 job. And I'm telling you that for a fact. Like, I was saying this to one of my coworkers the other day because they said that Kai Cenat Kai Cenat's job as a streamer is easier than working as a security guard. No, it's not. There's no way you're going to, yeah, maybe in the sense of, but even then, I don't even think so. I can't even argue for that. I think that being a security guard or doing anything, working any 9-to-5 job is going to be a lot easier than being a streamer. I mean, if you've seen that Jubilee video where it's like the, you know, the people who work 9-to-5s versus most of them were FaZe Clan, but I guess all of them were like streamers and stuff. So their job is a lot harder because at the end of the day, what the people were like, the people working 9-to-5 jobs were arguing is the truth, right? What happens when you lose that clout? Like, you have all your followers doing this, and I get that these people, because luckily these people like, you know, Stable Ronaldo, Jason Naween, FaZe Adapt, you know, Lacey, like they got a point, you know what I mean? Hey, I own real estate, so I rent all this stuff. So at the end of the day, they still have that regular, you know, real estate 9-to-5 type mentality, but it's like they're really not working 9-to-5 because they could just sit in their house and say, hey, I'm making money off the rent. So I mean, I'm pretty sure Ronaldo was messing around when he said, oh, I just raised the rent on Christmas. Like, he's just trying to troll, and maybe not, because I know plenty of landlords that do that stuff and they're like, oh, I'll just raise the rent and I'll make more money, which I think is an abomination. You know, I don't think you should raise the rent on people like that. But regardless, like, working a 9-to-5 is still always going to be easier because there's less stress. You don't have to worry about, oh, what happens when your empire comes crumbling down? You know what I mean? Like, that's the point. Once your empire comes crumbling down, that's it. You don't have any more audience, right? When I go to work, I don't have to worry about, you know, I guess I kind of do if you talk about like, you know, mass layoffs and stuff like that. But for the most part, there's still another job waiting out there for me. And if there's not, then that comes with policy changes and the government and legislation that's going to help fix that, hopefully. But regardless, it's still a lot easier for me to wake up and say, hey, I'm going to go to my 9-to-5 and then make money off of that, because at least I know when payday's coming, right? There's plenty of creators now that go for months and they're making nothing. So you got to be grateful for that as well, because it's a lot easier to wake up, go to a 9-to-5 than it is to be a YouTuber streamer. So I mean, yeah, you know, but at the end of the day, what do you guys think, right? If you guys think that being a streamer is easier than 9-to-5, then drop it in the comments and, you know, maybe we can come on here and we can debate. But I'm telling you that working a 9-to-5 is always going to be easier than being a streamer. But other than that, this is Low Class Scum, and I'll see you guys in the next video.